Hi everybody, it is, oh my god, it is May 8th, 2024, another day of fabulous life, weather warfare, economic warfare, everything is warfare. That's what we're living. Can't candy coat it. Shauna Howard, James B., Alicia DeMoss. Yeah, I do like that Gandhi saying. Thanks, Elle, for noting it. And thank you for being here. And hello, Shauna and James and Alicia and Justin Wynn. And hello, Elle, as well. And Julie and Andrew Cruz and Mike Loft and Julio and Agnes and Barb in Ohio and Donna Davidson, Markle 11, Sith Trish, Jay Northrup, and T. Lamb, thank you. So to my moderators, I thank you very, very much. Much appreciated. The blue people. The blue people. So, weather warfare every single day. We are really getting pummeled. Bad. And it's good to see you, T. Lamb, because North Carolina has a lot of power outages. Rowdy Wood. Hi. Julie, hi. Let's check out radar. It's not looking good. And by all accounts, my account as well, but others are saying these storms are going to get far worse. Look at this, what's happening here in Texas. What is this? Manifestation of supercell ignition dying out, but this one does not look good up here in northeast Texas into Oklahoma, and the very tip of the northwest, Arkansas, into Missouri, into Illinois, Indiana. Kentucky is awash with supercells, Tennessee, supercells, and South Carolina. These things are moving fast. North Carolina, you got the supercells. And supercell ignition up here in Iowa. And twirling about, see how these, if you have paid attention enough to remember the radar that I have shown pretty much on a daily basis, you will see that the storms, these weather fronts, take on a hurricane posture up here, right up here, actually, Minnesota, North and South Dakota. And one died out today, and they bring about another one. You see the extremely low frequencies blasting away here in Nebraska, Kansas, hitting these storms, directing these storms. And I hope to God that all of you in these areas, I hope that you don't have to suffer the consequences and that you remain safe. That you remain safe. Now, they were also talking about storms developing down here in the Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, the central areas of the states, going on up to North Georgia, and you got the beating away of Doppler radar, these frequencies, the high frequencies belting away, charging up the atmosphere, creating all of these very destructive storms. Extremely destructive storms. and some rain up here in New York, upstate, Vermont, wee bit in New Hampshire, Maine. But this is very concerning. And I'm going to post a link to this radar site, so I do hope that you will be bookmarking it and checking it out, on a daily basis, because this is happening on a daily basis. And, well, let me show you. Ryan Hall is on it again. Where are we? Let's do this, and let's do this. And I will post his... I don't like the fact that he never mentions weather modification, and he knows damn well. But he does very good coverage of the storms. Maybe he knows exactly where they're going, and maybe he knows exactly what's going to happen. Who the hell knows? But who cares? What you need to know is what's happening with these storms. So his live is going on now. Severe weather coverage with storm chasers on the ground. And here, tornado watches issued for parts of 10 states.
At parts of Alabama and Georgia under this. You talked about heading through the overnight hours. Those two states remain under this tornado watch until about midnight tonight. But look at how expansive this is. We take it from Texas all the way to the east, most of the state of Tennessee under this, most of the state of Kentucky, and now northern portions of Georgia and Alabama. And it is because of how sweeping these storms are going to be through the course of this evening. We take you to about 8 p.m. tonight. Tennessee is getting in on some of those storms. Now northern portions of Alabama, back towards southern portions of Illinois, still in the thick of things with a secondary wave pushing through. That second wave takes us well through the late evening. So that is why areas like northern Georgia as well as Alabama will remain under this threat throughout the overnight hours. And we continue to see that into the start of tomorrow. I think that initial wave that we're currently watching, it starts to become a wind threat and a rain threat into tomorrow morning's commute. We also have a couple of opportunities for maybe some storms to start us off in areas like Tennessee and northern Alabama before that becomes more of a rain event too, becoming more linear into the start of our Thursday. But looking at the rain that's accompanying this in these storms are dropping a lot of rain in a very short amount of time. So for the state of Georgia, we have about 1 to 2 inches expected for you. Nashville gets swamped with the rain that's going to be moving through. Most of the state at least seeing 1 to 2 inches of rain. Closer towards Nashville, we could see upwards of 2 to 3 inches. And just off towards, say, the east of Nashville, maybe more localized, could see upwards of 3 to 5 inches. But Tennessee really gets in on that heavy rain, and now looks like parts of western North Carolina could see some of the heaviest of the rain too. An area that is currently dealing with some power outages at this point in time as well.
Yeah, so this took place yesterday into the night hours, so you can't let down your guard, even if they say these warnings will go on until 8 p.m. A whole lot of people are getting these tornadoes in the wee hours of the morning, which is unusual. Well, no longer. Not when they can control and create the tornadoes. But this is in West Virginia.
It doesn't get much more visual than this. A path of where a tornado went through Fairhaven, West Virginia. It's a miracle the only victims in this situation are pieces of property like this barn behind me.
It's devastating.
In the daylight, everyone sees nothing's off limits to this tornado. It came with quick warning.
About 1 o'clock in the morning, we got an alert on our phone. And about 3 minutes later, the tornado hit.
Joanne Plunkett lives in a mobile home next door to this mangled barn. She hid in the bathroom when it hit.
It did pick us up and move us.
The strong whirlwind slid her home, but it flipped another neighbor's mobile home over and ripped a towing company beside her apart. Further down the road, the tornado cleared trees and it spiraled the roof off a home, wiping out 3 more barns with it.
That was the old farmhouse. That was a barn. And he had a brand new one down there where that cut's at.
Like most here, Tim Dunleavy is checking on his neighbors, finding everyone's accounted for so far.
Thank God. Look at it. I mean, you can see right where it came through, too. Hit and miss, hit and miss.
In the dark of the morning, this twister catapulted this mobile home into the water.
The mobile homes, they didn't stand a chance. Blew my mother-in-law's trailer off the blocks, blew this one off the blocks, destroyed that one down there.
New Cumberland Fire, EMS, power companies, and neighbors are battling to clear roads from toppled trees. Now it's the sights and sounds of natural disaster all ages won't forget.
We heard a freight train, and it dropped in right here.
We heard braking and stuff.
It was frightening. It was the most frightening thing I've ever lived through.
You know, I've been listening to news broadcasts today about these tornadoes in the southwest corner of Michigan, Portage, and now West Virginia. They're talking about mobile homes. In almost every broadcast, the reporter was talking about how the most unsafe dwelling is a mobile home. Well, we've seen homes, just homes, not mobile homes, but homes, literally they're ripped to shreds. But I have to wonder, why are they saying mobile homes, mobile homes? I don't be surprised if they come out and say mobile homes are uninhabitable. You got to get out of your mobile home because it's unsafe. They want to protect you. Don't be surprised. Because I've never heard so much about how unsafe mobile homes are until today with all of these tornadoes. Like every broadcast. Southwest Michigan.
Begin with team coverage tonight of the severe weather that spawned at least 2 tornadoes in the Kalamazoo area last night. Less than an hour ago, though, the National Weather Service announced one of them was an EF2 tornado that was on the ground for 11 miles. It knocked down thousands of trees, damaging more than 150 buildings. County leaders held a news conference to give an update on the damage and the response. 13 on your side's Julia Gorman was there. She joins us now live from Portage. And Julia, they were saying after all of the destruction and damage, it's surprising no one lost their lives.
Now, take a look here. We have been gathering video and pictures, as we've told you, from across the area. Just the incredible effects of Mother Nature and how the destruction just riddled this area. Now, at that news conference, we learned that officials from across the county and here in the city of Portage, they're working really hard, tirelessly, they say, to get people back on their feet. About a third of the folks who lost power, that has been restored at this point. There should be many more folks who get power back by midnight tonight. That was the big message. There will be more folks, though, who will have to wait to get power back until tomorrow. We know that hundreds of electric and gas crews are out working to restore traffic intersections and electricity and gas lines and clean up power lines that are on the ground. Ultimately, folks from the city and from the county were really pleased with how the alert system worked last night. They're really crediting the all different sorts of alerts that go out to let people know what's happening during severe weather, and they're thanking those systems and really proud of how those work to keep people safe throughout this this ongoing scenario. And again, as we've been saying, no one died here in this situation, which is truly incredible. Just a couple of injuries. Here's more from the public safety director.
Michigan. First ever tornado emergency. And I do want to just say, when you watch this, and if you come here on a daily basis, I'm showing it on a daily basis. Are you getting that this is now the weather warfare ramped up? Are you getting that? So many people have lost their homes. The flooding in Houston area of Texas and also north. Then well, before the flooding, how about those tornadoes in Oklahoma, Sulphur, Oklahoma, that literally just decimated the entire town and other areas. But since last week, the flooding, now these tornadoes happening every night, in many different areas. Do you realize how many Americans have lost their homes? And then think about the economy, how many people can actually recover. That's the scary part, as far as I'm concerned. Oh, a lot of people are really suffering. And it's not lost on me, the scale of this weather warfare. And this is just this country.
Yeah, and in that mobile home park, Marissa, we're talking about more than 200 homes that were destroyed in that one tornado. But I want to point out that the city of Portage believes they may have seen, in fact, 2 separate tornadoes. Of course, that's going to be something that we confirm later on today as the National Weather Service sends out their survey teams from Grand Rapids down to really get a closer look at the damage here and investigate that situation. Here's a look at that mobile home park, the Pavilion Estates mobile home park there, and you can see how widespread it is, how many homes have either been shredded or shifted off of their foundations there. But thankfully, no one here was killed. There were some injuries, none really significant. We're talking about maybe a dozen or so, closer to 24 people that were hurt in the grand scheme of things. But all in all, it seems like officials really believe those people being weather aware, recognizing that the threat, even if it wasn't at the highest for Southwest Michigan, was still there and knew what to do and knew really when it was to take cover or when to evacuate. But we're still looking at major damage and a lot of cleanup for today. It's actually why officials are asking people to stay home today. There are a lot of downed trees, power lines, a lot of buildings still to clean up, as well as reports of some gas leaks following some of this devastation. And what you're looking at now is what's left of that FedEx facility, where at one point 50 people were trapped inside. So there were employees inside when that tornado hit yesterday, and you can see the walls and part of the ceiling there were sort of ripped off by the strong winds there, right? So another indication of at least some sort of strong tornado there. Thankfully, everyone there was found, cleared. That's the good news now. We are looking.
This is aerial views of those homes that are impacted. Notice those homes, those are ones that can't sustain a tornado, or withstand, I could say, a tornado.
See, this is the, I think we're going to hear it more and more. And who lives in a mobile home? Those who are, let's just say, financially stressed or I can't, my brain is very slow, but it is those who can't afford, just a regular home. So, but how are they saying this? I don't understand how they're saying this, because we have seen utter destruction of brick homes, of just, regular homes. So why do they keep harping on the mobile home? There's an awful lot of homes that don't have basements, which kind of surprised me coming from the Northeast. Regular homes, so where do they go? They go into the bathrooms, but they're really doing it with the mobile homes. And I am afraid that, unfortunately, sooner rather than later, they will come out and say, that mobile homes are just not doable. Michigan Family Shelters and Home as tornado devastates Portage. That's the name of the town. Very traumatizing. It sure is.
Actually, what happened last night, we were tracking these storms, and numerous families were impacted by those tornadoes in southern Michigan. So we look at 6 family members here that were on the property when that tornado directly impacted their home. 4 of them were in the main house, and then they had enough time to actually take shelter and get to the basement. But 2 other family members didn't have that time. So they actually had to shelter in the lower level of their hallway. Thankfully, though, no one was hurt. But the Clark's home is severely damaged after this event. So we want to bring in Devon and Cabrina Clark, who sheltered with their 2 children for more than 45 minutes as the tornadoes rolled through. And thank you both for being with us here tonight. You're sheltered in the basement through this storm. Can you kind of walk us through that experience and how fast you were able to get to your safe location?
Yeah, it was actually, I just got home from work and my wife was preparing the evening meal. The sirens and alerts that I was getting on my phone was more than like 4 minutes or so. And we all started to make our way down to the basement. And within minutes, the lights flickered. And all of a sudden, the tornado struck. Had we been upstairs, wow, it happened so fast. It was just unbelievable.
And I understand that both of you serve in our military. Thank you. And I think that you're like that calm sense, right? When there's danger, right? You lock into that mode. And I know you're protected 2 kids. You also have to worry about your parents. But Cabrina, I want to ask you, because I was told that you've been through some serious weather events. I mean, earthquakes, tsunamis. Can you talk about your experience with that and then equate it to what you just went through last night with this tornado?
To be perfectly honest with you, I don't even think the events compare. When I was stationed in the Marine Corps, I had a brief stint over in Okinawa, Japan, and there is where I experienced that first tsunami. And while that was wild, it just doesn't compare to this time, only because having children involved, one who is special needs, I mean, yesterday was very traumatizing for them. And I think that is something that we will never forget, their reaction, and even our dog, how he responded during that time. I mean, it was just a very, very scary time, very scary.
And Cabrina, we actually talked with a psychiatrist last night about that, how traumatic and scary this event can be for the entire family, especially for kids trying to understand, why is there so much stress? Why did everything change so suddenly, right? And it's very difficult now because what I understand that your place suffered some really extensive damage, and you can actually see the belongings now still in the trees.
There's quite a bit of our belongings in the tree line. I joked with some of my coworkers. If you see that picture there in the hallway where there's a massive hole in the ceiling, I joked with my coworkers yesterday that I had been dreaming of having a skylight added to our home, and the universe provided. So trying to stay positive and make light of the situation. Yeah, there's definitely a whirlwind of emotions that we're feeling right now.
And I don't think that this was a mobile home. So, yeah. Farm destroyed by Michigan. And Mama Rages, aren't you kind of in this area of Michigan? Or close by southern Michigan? It's good to see you, knowing that you weren't affected. And thank you. You're one of the blue people. Thank you very much. The farm gone, Michigan, yeah. Lots of destruction. Hot Springs, Arkansas.
Last night for many in that area after that tornado touched down, damaging almost everything in its path. Dorothea Wilson spoke with people early this morning in Hot Springs to get their reactions in the immediate aftermath.
It's a somber day for people in Hot Springs, especially those who live on Long Island Drive.
I raised the blind on the window above our bed, and I believe I was kneeling on the bed above the headboard and raised up and looked out the blind. When I did, I could actually view the tornado coming across the bridge.
Many shedding tears as they rummage through the devastation of the tornado, trying to salvage what's left behind. Richard Grinnis is the caretaker for the Shadow Creek condominiums. He says the roaring sounds of thunder woke him out of his sleep.
We heard all heck break loose, and next thing you know, it's over. We waited for a few more minutes to make sure everything was calm.
But nothing could prepare him for the next thing he saw.
When I opened the door up, you go in our unit, the ceilings and the floor, the rafters, they're broke. They're down in the living room. Our bedroom window where we were actually laying got shattered.
For other residents, physical damage is the least of their concern.
Anytime there's weather of, a tornado, hurricane, I've been through both, and it's always a severe risk of life. Unfortunately, nothing other than some property and trees and stuff that can all be replaced. It's not like your family hurt.
Jimmy McIntyre searched for his son who stayed on the lake Tuesday night, but was grateful to find him okay. The road to recovery will be a long one, but people in Hot Springs are showing resilience as they work to get their city cleaned up and...
God, I can't stand that word, resilience. This is Hot Springs. So, West Virginia, Arkansas, Michigan. I think we have one more state for yesterday or the early mornings of today. And we're going to have more, unfortunately. Oh, there was a tornado that touched down in Tennessee. Yep, Mama rages, I get it. What was that? Yeah. This is a war. This is a war. You're looking at the destruction from using weather as a weapon. That's what it is. Okay. Sorry. And here, Hot Springs cleaning up.
Hey, Tom, back here in Hot Springs, the concerns right now with those storms bearing down on us is it couldn't possibly hit us again. Not after you look at some of the devastation that we have found as we've gone around here today. I just got off the phone with City Manager Bill Burrow, who tells me there's those three areas of concern in the city right now are Lakeland Drive, Davidson Road, and Peninsula Drive. They've done a great job citywide and Garland County officials of clearing those roads today and getting them back open. Peninsula, a particular trouble spot. There was unable to even get halfway down this road that I'm standing next to until about an hour ago, but crews have done a great job. One of the things holding them up through all of that time has been concerns about the power lines that are tangled in all of the mess on the ground and on the roads. And those power concerns are focused now for city officials. I mentioned Davidson Drive or Davidson Road. That is where the city's wastewater plant is. They're only on half power right now. And if they lose power completely here in the next 24 to 36 hours, we could be looking at a wastewater crisis. Meanwhile, in the rest of the state, power outages, 40,000 people.
Yeah, lots of power outages. And step down, I did see your comment about a postcard. No, I don't give out my address anymore, I'm sorry. And I don't have a P.O. box. But here, Coopertown, that sounds familiar, like maybe Coopertown had gotten hit in Tennessee, got hit once before, I don't know, but I can't play this. This is Live Storms Media. And who knows how much. Yeah, the power outages. Look at North Carolina. 100,000 plus out of power. And Tennessee, you got 10,000 plus, and Michigan, and the Upper Peninsula, and Missouri, California, and Washington. Alrighty. So, Barnsdall, this was the tornado 2 days ago in Oklahoma. Okay, well, they were reunited with their cat finally. But we often talk about the resilience of the two-legged. How about the resilience of the four-leggeds?
Ashley and Craig here lost a small farm, pigs, chickens. They also lost a dog. One dog survived. Tons of stories like that out here as well. 2 News Oklahoma's Sharon Phillips met up with one family in a special reunion with their pet Pikachu.
Amidst all of the brokenness in Barnsdall remains a spirit of hope. The Crowder family, desperate to find their cat Pikachu after a tornado shredded their home to pieces, spending hours calling her name. Lindsay Crowder recalls the night their lives changed forever.
The sirens went off the first time. We went down to the shelter. Then they went off, so we thought the threat was over. So we came back home, and we were watching the radar pretty closely and saw that it was coming straight for us. So we went back down to the shelter, and I'm so glad that we did. We didn't have our pets with us. I honestly thought that we were going to come back and our house was still going to be here.
With their home destroyed, the family focused their efforts on finding their pets. We were there as Lindsay began calling out to Pikachu, who was miraculously discovered underneath the rubble alive. And for a small moment in time, the sadness lifted as she came out and into Lindsay's waiting arms.
I'm so happy right now. This is just a house. We can't replace her. We can't replace us. We can't replace our kids. You know, we cannot.
Very happy. That's a good ending. Commissioner Tom Ramsey blames Montgomery County for intense Harris County flooding. Everybody's blaming everybody else. How about blame the weather terrorists?
He is, and as we know, Precinct 3 is right on the southern border of Montgomery County. It also has the San Jacinto River cutting through it, so his constituents were heavily impacted by a lot of this flooding. And we do know that as this rain started to come down over the weekend, it was flowing from the north to the south, and as the rain came down, we saw lakes swells, dams were released, and then those flooded waters started to surge through neighborhoods and communities. And you've seen the pictures, houses, businesses, roads completely underwater, washed out, destroyed. Today in Commissioner's Court, Ramsey claimed the intensity of the flooding here in Harris County is a direct result of poor flood mitigation happening in Montgomery County. He also points fingers at the San Jacinto River Authority, saying that the release of excess water from the lakes was done poorly.
When you're out there in the middle of the night, pulling people out of their houses and knowing that some of that could have been mitigated if we just do a better job.
Well, they're not going to do a better job because the flooding of homes is intentional. Continued shutdowns on Highway 90. This is also in Texas for Liberty County, and it is the chaos. It doesn't just, you got some rain, you got some flooding, and then it's gone, within a couple of days. No, it's just endless heartache, inconvenience, stress.
Trinity River are still shut down tonight after floodwaters overwhelmed the stretch of road earlier this week.
That's right, and while that weather event was a big inconvenience, meteorologist Brittany Begley spoke to people who agree that this shutdown is a headache for everyone in that community.
I'm standing on Highway 90 in Liberty County, something I shouldn't be able to do. But with the most recent flood, a portion of 90 was shut down, and we wanted to know how it was affecting you.
Employees not being able to get to work. I had several that called in for a couple days.
What about the bottom line for those folks? I mean, especially missing a couple days of work is a big deal.
Yeah, some of them took vacation pay.
While others were scared they were going to get trapped in Liberty before 90 shut down.
My uncle was at Walmart, and during that time when he was at Walmart, they heard that they were going to close the bridge, so a lot of people just got up and they left because they didn't want to, be stuck here. I mean, it's scary.
And some taking long detours, causing them to pay more at the pump.
People happen to take different routes to work and all of this, happen to drive 40 and 50 miles out of the way to try to get to work, and who wants to do that, Are you buying me gas, No.
And thankfully, some lanes on 90 are now open, which will help ease some of the burdens from our last storm.
Now I can go get some more money. Work. Gotta go to work.
But authorities.
Earthquake in Indonesia. I think it was a 6.2.
A power earthquake measuring 6.7 on the Richter scale has hit Indonesia, causing severe damage to country's infrastructure. The earthquake struck the Sumatra region, causing the destruction of many buildings and damage to roads. According to preliminary data, 20 buildings were destroyed and hundreds of residents sought medical help. Rescuers and medical teams were sent to the scene to provide assistance to the victims. Local authorities declared a state of emergency and began assessing the extent of the damage. Residents were evacuated from destroyed or damaged buildings, awaiting temporary shelter and assistance to some areas. To the affected country.
It was a 6.7. Brazil's flood. Somebody mentioned 70,000 displaced. I saw 180,000 displaced. And dozens killed, yes. And look at this horse.
Escape por las graves inundaciones. Me gustaría saber qué pasó con este caballo que está
muy
ahí.
lamentable. Hasta la fecha, además, ya se eleva a 95 la cifra de muertos por lluvias del sur de Brasil.
Sí,
El resto de las personas.
Sí, es difícil rescatarlo ahí, pero fíjense que así habrá llegado al nivel de las aguas que el caballo logró llegar hasta el techo. De hecho, hay imágenes también de personas rescatando animales como perros y gatos en una...
Can't stand it. This is Brazil. This is a 4-hour. I'll put the link in if you want to see flooding that is on a scale that is 3 times the flooding of the Houston area in Texas just last week.
Esse avião no meio do aeroporto.
Primeiro dia de sol no município e o cenário em todas as ruas é esse aqui. Muita lama, materiais perdidos e um mutirão de limpeza em frente às casas.
Tá cheio, tá lotado. Muitos carros ainda ali.
Want to talk massive destruction? You're looking at
Quem
it.
está assistindo isso, quem é daí,
You're
como
looking
você
at it.
disse, Cristiano, é impossível.
It is just, there are no words, man. There are no words.
Buscar a última atenção é isso. A gente larga o nosso trabalho para tentar deixar todo mundo bem e cuidado.
De tá desse jeito e a todo instante.
Sure wish the adult two-legged would just maybe check into weather modification. Hey, weather warfare, weather used as weapons. How about agricultural burning in Mexico is bringing hazy skies to San Antonio?
Taking a live look outside, if you've noticed the sky has been a little hazy lately, you're certainly not the only one. Agriculture burning peaks this time of year, bringing haze and smoke to Texas, impacting Texas air quality. Meteorologist Ryan Choctaw explains.
The haze in the sky. Farmers across Mexico and Central America are preparing for their new growing season.
A lot of the farms and so forth down in Mexico, Guatemala, the Yucatan, Central America, burn fields.
And it's usually this time of year during the month of May where the amount...
Is this a new happening, or does this happen all the time when you have burning in Mexico and Guatemala, creating haze, not only in San Antonio, but also Houston, that area too? Is this something that happens on a regular? I don't think so. And how about fires already burning across Arizona?
Awareness Week here in Arizona. We're following the dangers of hot weather along with several wildfires burning across the state. We have team coverage tracking those fires and breaking down what you can do to protect yourself from those extreme temperatures. So when we talk about the weather, we're talking the trees swaying in Flagstaff, and look what's going on in Prescott. That's where the winds have kicked up across much of the high country and becoming problematic with our prime fire conditions. Just within the past 24 hours, we've seen this brush fire break out, this one starting in Goodyear and growing to more than 2,000 acres. And then the other one, the horse fire that has already burned hundreds of acres in the Tonto National Forest. ABC 15's Lillian Donahue is there tonight where residents are being urged to be fire aware. Lillian.
The traditional fire season has come on fast.
Any little spark, and it's off to the races.
Right now, crews are battling a large brush fire south of Goodyear, known as the Flying Bucket Fire.
This fire basically moved over 2,000 acres overnight, and it had a continuous line of fire on it.
And north of there, in the Tonto National Forest, the horse fire burned more than 500 acres in the past 48 hours.
They were able to stop the spread as of yesterday.
Northeastern Arizona also under a warning Tuesday for prime fire conditions to create potentially dangerous situations.
It's going to be a very interesting summer.
The fuel for the fires are all around us. Years of desert grass drying up, and the wind you see only making the spread faster.
Just because you live in the metro area doesn't mean that there's not green belts in there and those little islands of open area. It's ready to burn.
The grass can go just like that.
Experts warn all this could mean a busier than usual fire year. While exact causes of the current wildfires are being investigated, there are some things you should be cautious of as we heat up.
With dragging chains or target shooting and ricocheting those bullets, there's just a lot of things that people need to be aware of this summer.
And watch out for those lasers. Watch out for the plasma fires starting underneath New York Times. 26 minutes and 45 seconds of climate change bullshit.
From the New York Times, I'm Katrin Benholt. This is The Daily. Many of the effects of climate change are already with us. Heat waves, droughts, wildfires, flooding. But some of the most alarming consequences are hiding beneath the surface of the ocean. Today, my colleagues David Gallus and Raymond Zhang on just how close we might be to a tipping point.
To the tipping point. Flooding hits Elgin. This is in Texas. Neighborhood due to new subdivision. Do you know how? I can't tell you how many news broadcasts I have seen over the years, a whole lot, with these contractors putting in these divisions or subdivisions and creating flooding for the people who exist there, who've been existing there, and suddenly, and they don't do anything to rectify it. Okay, we used to be able to do things well, like properly. Now we don't.
We
We visited MJ Messenger on a dry, quiet day in Bastrop County as she and neighbor Billy Maynard showed us the watermarks.
And then it runs off of up there, under the road, down on these people's property, and then comes all the way down on me. We now have water running from everywhere.
This is what happens to their property after it rains. They say this level of flooding didn't start until January of 2023. Messenger has been at her property for almost 2 decades.
The only equation that has changed in this property in 18 years is that development up there.
The water's running off. It's got to go somewhere.
Maynard has been at his property even longer.
I've never had any problems until I started this subdivision.
Confirming the issue began when farmland just up the road from them started being developed into individual lots. They say what used to serve as a natural drain now diverts water toward their properties at high speed.
We get 1.5 inches, 2 inches of rain. It comes down a hill. It comes down a ditch, comes across the road, over the road, and it floods my whole pasture.
We followed the water path up to one of the detention ponds put in place by the developer.
They're not sufficient. They created the nightmare for us. I can manage water. I've managed water for all this time. Like I said, the only time it actually came in my backyard was when we got that 12 inches in about 1 day's time, in about 4-hour time.
They can put floodgates in there where they've got the opening, and when the water gets up a certain height, then they can start to release water at a slow rate.
More than an inconvenience.
All that muck and junk and beer bottles.
This past weekend, I found out I had a tank full of water moccasins down there, and we had to take 22 down there and shoot a bunch of water moccasins. I don't like them either, but they also bite cows and dogs. I lost a dog from that.
And Messenger's doghouse has been moved to the front yard, as they both have tried to get the attention of county, even state leaders.
I'm not an engineer, but I've got a lot of common heart sense. I've been around for a long time, and I know water goes downhill.
These developers are flooding people and causing problems, and the county just said, it's a civil lawsuit. We can't do anything about it.
A spokesperson.
Don't expect government to help you at all. The North Loop at Homestead, this is the Houston area. A major crash involving 18-wheeler shuts down major artery.
But first, we have some breaking news to tell you about on the roads. Air 11 over the scene of a horrific and dramatic crash. This is the North Loop near the Homestead exit in Northeast Houston. Look at the damage. A semi-truck pulling a trailer appears to have lost control, and the bulldozer it was hauling went crashing across the median into oncoming traffic. We're hearing at least one person was rushed to the hospital. It is unclear if anyone has died. We can tell you there are major backups now in both directions of the North Loop at Homestead. We'll keep you posted on this accident throughout the show.
Houston, we have a problem. How about LA? Commercial building goes up in flames in Linwood.
This hour, maybe people were just starting to come to work here. It's a commercial area right off of Cortland Drive. It appears that it's the backside of that structure right there that is on fire. And that looks to me almost like an overhang of some type. Maybe there are vehicles underneath there. We just haven't really gotten an assessment from the fire department as to exactly what is burning inside. But you could tell it's going to be pretty difficult to get this fire out. As far as exposures are concerned, we'll come out of this shot a little bit. It appears that they probably will be able to contain it to just that one structure, if you will. We have little to no wind in the area, and it's relatively cool, so that will help things out. At this
I have to do something, so I'm just going to let this play for a little bit.
point in time, they're just trying to get another ladder truck in here so they can get more water on this. For the most part, it is a defensive stance that they've taken to try and put this fire out. We'll keep an eye on this. More than likely, the resources on scene will be able to knock it down. I don't see them sending more resources to this location, but it could take some time to put this fire out. They can be extremely difficult when you have what appears to be now, as you get a little better look, some type of pallets. If it's wood, it can burn for a long, long time. It's just a lot of fuel in there, and certainly looks to be the case at this point in time with all that black smoke pouring up from the structure. So it looks like firefighters will be able to contain it. You know, they like to get inside quickly if they can when a fire breaks out, just to make certain that no one was trapped. But in this case, that is not going to be possible. You can see how intensely this fire is burning. Now, that's a mason wall right there, and hopefully if it doesn't get too hot, it'll stop the fire from spreading to that other structure and that metal structure there you see on the left side of your screen. So at this point in time, the water pressure being an issue, you could tell the hook and ladder is moving up, trying to get a little further down that little access road. So it looks like access is an issue as well. They're having a difficult time getting their resources into position to get as much water on this fire as they would like to. Once again, the fire broke out about 8 o'clock this morning. We don't know what caused it. No reports of injuries. That is good news. Looks like county firefighters are going to have a bit of a battle on their hands for a bit. We'll continue to stay overhead and monitor and give you some updates from time to time. But right now, it looks like this fire is still burning completely out of control. The concern is that portion of the flames that is coming out right next to that cinder block wall, and whether or not that's going to spread to the other structure or not. I don't see any evacuations yet. Of course, there are several surface streets in the area that are shut down. There's also a school right next door. If you open up out of your shot for a moment, Marcel, and pan to the right, it doesn't appear, well, it's hard to tell if the school is in session or not. We might be able to take the camera and peek down in there and get the name of the school. I do see...
Boy, we have big fires, huh? Lots of smoke and big fires. How about another Boeing crash? Oh, yeah. A 767 cargo plane crash landed in Turkey. Oh, my God. Yeah. Here we go. Boeing. Someone has taken down Boeing. Fast.
Ana teker yok lan. Aa teker yok. Anam yere vurdu. Geçmiş olsun arkadaşlar. Ama helal olsun. Güzel yanıt kesin karşısında. Ben çok güzel indirdi Dayko. Oğlum şaka. Ya oradan burada ya. Burada indiremiyor ya.
If you're flying still, I wouldn't fly Boeing. No, I wouldn't. Oh, I saw on TV here this commercial, and it is so American. Only 2 countries allow the pharmaceutical industry to post commercials on TV, and I can't remember the other one, but the US. And these commercials are getting more, it's more obvious when they are posting, especially for psychiatric medications, these symptoms, remember how they would rattle them off at like a really fast speed? Now they just do it slowly. Americans are listening to drugs that they're trying to push on Americans, and, well, they have an awful lot of symptoms that you would think that Americans would just back off and say, I ain't taking that. Do they?
An antidepressant, but you're still masking your depression. You could be experiencing a partial response to your antidepressant.
Partial response happens when your antidepressant alone isn't enough. Let's try adding Rexulti. When added to an antidepressant, Rexulti significantly reduced depression symptoms more than an antidepressant alone. So you can build on your progress.
Rexulti can cause serious side effects. Elderly dementia patients have an increased risk of death or stroke. Antidepressants may increase suicidal thoughts and actions and worsen depression in children and young adults. Report new or sudden changes in mood, behavior, thoughts, or feelings. Or if you develop suicidal thoughts or actions, report fever, stiff muscles, and confusion, which can be life-threatening, or uncontrolled muscle movements, which may be permanent. High blood sugar, which can lead to coma or death. Weight gain, increased cholesterol, low white blood cells, unusual urges, dizziness on standing, falls, seizures, trouble swallowing, or sleepiness may occur. Ask your doctor about Rexulti.
Sounds good, doesn't it? Holy shit. The hell is wrong with us? Adults, they're walking around with little circles, placards of smiley faces. Are you? Okay. Oh my God. But that's just for your depression. You're taking a medication already and it's just partially lift. So take Rexulti, that you could end up with a seizure, suicidal ideation, a whole lot of other really bad stuff. But ask your doctor about Rexulti. I'm sure it will do something, but it's not going to alleviate your depression. Holy shit. Yeah, take more and more drugs. It's scary. It is. It just... And you want to talk scary? This woman. She's... How... Yeah, okay. Maxine Waters claims right-wing groups are training up in the hills somewhere for civil war if Trump loses. This woman is a violence instigator, and they're at it, and we're going to hear oh my God, especially from the left, the crazies are going to come out closer we get to election time.
This is a man who we better be careful about. And I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask the Justice Department and I'm going to ask the president to tell us what they're going to do to protect this country against violence if he loses. I want to know about all of those right-wing organizations that he's connected with, who are training up in the hills somewhere and targeting, what communities they're going to attack.
They never leave the stage. They never leave the stage. They never leave the stage. These people, she has enriched herself. She is so bloody corrupt. She doesn't even live in the district that she represents. She lives in a white neighborhood. And she's, here.
Let's make sure we show up wherever we have to show up. And if you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd. And you push back on them. And you tell them they're not welcome anymore, anywhere.
Crazy. The cabinet. Trump's cabinet. You see any of those in the cabinet, you go. You tell them they're not welcome in restaurants. You tell them, okay. Where I just don't know what to say anymore. And here, okay, so, Secretary of Interior. Senator eviscerates Biden official over dark money meetings. The Honorable Deb Haaland. Please, Honorable, give me a flippin' break.
In July of 2021, after you had come to office, members of the Wilderness Society, when they're suing the department, write to your top deputy and ask for a meeting to keep it off of his calendar. Here it is, July 14th, 2021. Can we set up a meeting with these folks? July 19th, 2021, they propose how they might calibrate this so it doesn't look like they're violating any of the rules of the court. And remarkably, it stays completely off of everybody's calendars. We only know about it because FOIA requests were filed. And then after they have these off-the-books meetings, their request is to cancel the mineral leasing rights in Minnesota in the Superior National Forest. This is a critical minerals mine. The society wants the mine shut down. After they meet off the books with your leadership, you do it. A few months later, you do it. You cancel the leases, and then you withdraw 225,000 acres of critical mining from production and leasing shortly after that.
All right, my subscriber just called, and there seems to be an emergency outside. So, you're going to have to talk amongst yourselves for a few minutes, okay? Sorry. All right, I'm sorry. Okie dokie. So yeah, these people, you know, they never answer a question. They're just, everything is just pure bullshit in this country, and I can't stand it. I really can't stand it.
Common practice at your department to meet with dark money groups off the books and conceal it from the public?
Senator, thank you for the question. And of course, I can't answer to, if you're referring to our former deputy secretary, he's no longer at the department.
Who worked for you?
He worked for the president. He was appointed by the president.
He's your deputy secretary. Are you the secretary of the Department of Interior? I thought that's why you were here. Are you the secretary? Don't look at her, look at me.
Yes.
Are you the secretary?
I am.
Do these people who are sitting here today answering most of your questions, do they work for you?
They work.
Do they report for you? You're not in charge?
They work with me.
They work with you, so you're not in charge of the department. Oh my gosh, I thought you were in charge. I thought that's why you were here.
We work as a team.
Oh, okay, so who's in charge then?
I provide the vision, I provide the overall direction, and
But you're not in charge.
Our mission.
Do you take responsibility for what happens at the Department of the Interior?
I take responsibility.
Do you take full responsibility for what happens at the Department of the Interior? Good. Then why are your leadership meeting with dark money groups and concealing it from the public? Why are they doing it off the books? How many times has this happened?
Senator, this is the first I'm hearing of this. My deputy secretary is no longer there, and I can't answer to what he did when he was there.
I can't answer. I don't know what's going on. I'm the Secretary of Interior, but, I don't know what's going on. We have an agenda that, we're not really doing anything for the American people. So what are you asking me this question for? Jesus. Oh, Biden administration finalizes rule to allow Dreamers to enroll in Obamacare. Dreamers. The illegal aliens. It will allow thousands of immigrants known as Dreamers to access tax breaks when they sign up for coverage after the Affordable Care Act's marketplace enrollment opens November 1, just days before the presidential election. Dreamers are our loved ones, our nurses, teachers, and small business owners, and they deserve the promise of health care just like all of us. Put everybody, just everyone. It doesn't matter if you're a citizen or not. Yeah. The system doesn't work for Americans. Biden continues to force hard-working, tax-paying, struggling Americans to pay for the housing, welfare, and now the health care of illegal immigrants. This is unfair and unsustainable. And Biden's handouts for illegal immigrants are especially devastating to Black Americans, Hispanic Americans, union workers who are forced to watch their jobs and public resources stolen by people who illegally entered our country. We are not a country ruled by law. Rumble is blocked in Russia after refusing censorship requests. Oh, so many people had their hopes in Putin. Yay, Putin! He's the savior of the world. No, he is not. Every country is going along the same way. Chinese people entering our country illegal near the San Diego border are destroying their IDs when they cross over. They don't want us to know who they are.
Hey, this is Bill Wells. I'm down here at the border, and I'm at my friend Corey Godero's house, who's going to take us down and show us what's happening at the border. But he lives right here, and you should see this. All of these IDs on the wall are IDs that he's found in his yard that people have just discarded after they've crossed the border. Some of them, as you can see over here, they've been lit on fire. They tried to burn them. A picture they found in two different locations that was obviously torn apart. So what's happening is they're getting across the border and they're deciding they're trying, at least being instructed, to destroy these IDs. Now, these are Middle Eastern IDs. We've got lots of people here from Turkey. But over here is really interesting. Well, all these IDs on the top are they're Mexican IDs, but they're Chinese nationals. And I have no idea how they get the Mexican ID, but these are people from China.
It's concerning. Everything they told you about cholesterol is a lie.
Eat a diet high in cholesterol.
One more time. Say that again. Because people are saying, what? Wait a minute. No, my doctor, my allopathic doctor, MD, has been telling me I have to lower my cholesterol. Okay, yeah, Pete. Now, Pete, this is really important, and people are not going to get this any other place. Educate our listeners on this.
That's the greatest myth in the field of conventional medicine right now, that there's a relationship between high cholesterol and heart disease. It does not exist. This is an academic fact, by the way. There was a Russian doctor named Ufi Ravenskov who I think 10 or 15 years ago did a meta-analysis of all of the research ever published anywhere in recorded history on the relationship between cholesterol and heart disease. His conclusion, based on an exhaustive review of the literature, there is no relationship between high cholesterol and heart disease. It does not exist.
I remember posting on that, 10 years ago, the whole cholesterol thing. Bullshit. Everything's bullshit. Everything is bullshit. Here, the black community no longer asleep to big pharma and government lies.
You can give the whole world a shot, but you still got people starving and nothing. Yeah, see, ain't nobody saying nothing. Oh, you got to take this shot. You better take it. It's to save your life, and it's free. We giving it free because it's to save everybody's life. If it's to save life, why ain't chemotherapy free? Why ain't insulin free? If it's to save everybody's life. So it's to save my life. But you got people dying of malnutrition. And we can't plant a garden over there, but we can send shots everywhere around the world. Somebody better open their eyes. You can give the whole world a shot, but you still got people starving and nothing.
Some things are just very obvious. Just one human is infected by bird flu. In the U.S., more cases are likely. It's the bird flu. It's spreading rapidly among cows. Got to kill off those cows. It's also infecting skunks and mountain lions and red foxes. Oh my God, it's highly contagious. It affects mammals across the U.S. Just one human case has been reported so far, but that's probably only because there is extremely limited testing of people underway to detect it. Oh, so now they have to ramp up their testing of people. Nearly 1 in 3 Americans live in constant pain. What a surprise. I'm surprised, actually, that it's not a higher number, like 2 in 3. We've got so many toxins that we are subjected to 24/7, and I'm amazed that so many are still walking around alive. Google DeepMind unveils next generation of drug discovery, AI. Yeah, Google DeepMind has unveiled the third major version of its AlphaFold artificial intelligence model designed to help scientists design drugs and target disease more effectively. Okay. 38% of Americans have never felt more uninspired at work than they do now. Not just at work. There ain't nothing inspiring happening all over. Florida becomes first state to ban fake meat. Okay, good on Florida. But hey, Boy Scouts to officially change its name after bankruptcy, sexual abuse woes, and here's what it will be called now. Scouting America. Oh, really? Scouting America. It's been the Boy Scouts for 114 years. Now it's Scouting America. I guess they had to get rid of boy. Colorado passes law requiring teachers to use students' preferred pronouns. Cuts parents out of the loop. Well, Coloradans, you gotta do something about that. Cognitive decline. Really? In Biden? No. Say it ain't so. Biden campaign says they will shorten his speeches. Biden campaign team has admitted that they are seeking to shorten his speeches, claiming that they are seeking quality over quantity, but leading many to presume it's because he can barely talk. Okay, it's a reflection of the people. Okay, the people happen to be Americans. It's a reflection. oh, this is, oh, it's the humiliation is going to start to really bring about pain. Columbia cancels their commencement amid security concerns. Columbia, along with other universities, canceling graduation. The Met Gala theme was both boring and out of touch. You think? Out of touch? Really? Look at these people. They live in a completely different world than all of us. And that is very clear. Yeah. Their annual foray into just, it is like they're an alien species. Look at this. Look at this. Holy shit. Who the hell is Morgan Spector? What the? I can't even imagine myself living this lifestyle. I can't imagine having the kind of money that these people have and not helping people who are really struggling. AstraZeneca withdrawing COVID vaccine worldwide. They say it's purely a commercial decision, but they're saying also that they admitted for the first time in court documents that it can cause a rare and dangerous side effect. What is that? Rare thrombosis and thrombocytopenia syndrome, which has been linked to at least 81 deaths in the UK. And Steve Albini. Now, I'm sure some of you know who this guy is. Indie rock icon who recorded Nirvana and Pixies albums, dies at 61. But they don't tell you at all why he died. Not at all. Read the article. I'll put the link in. I ain't lying. Here, check it out. Not one word of why he died. So you think it could have been maybe, I don't know, something to do with that shark thing? And apparently fish are shrinking. Fish are shrinking. The average body weight of nearly 3/4 of marine fish populations dropped. The change threatens the food supply of more than 3 billion people who rely on seafood. And they're blaming it on overfishing. Overfishing reduces fish sizes. Oh, but climate change seems to play a part as well. Fraudulent logic guides the UK smoking ban. The UK smoking ban. Sunak, Prime Minister, has decided to go on a crusade against smoking. The government passed its legislation that effectively bans smoking for those born after 2009. The government says it is doing this to reduce the burden on NHS. Billions of pounds will be saved in the long run due to fewer people developing smoking-related illnesses. Really? Why not ban potato chips? Why not ban fast foods? Why not ban all of what is unhealthy Why? Just smoking. Members of Parliament from all political parties voted for the legislation showing bipartisanship is alive and well. But really, obesity is becoming a major health issue in the UK, particularly in children. It will undoubtedly cost the NHS billions of pounds to treat these people once they get to an age where the massive medical issues become prevalent. To save the NHS, we should force feed these people a healthy diet so they lose the weight and do not develop costly obesity-related diseases. In fact, we should force feed everyone a healthy and balanced diet so a myriad of other diet-related health issues do not cost the NHS billions in treatment. Right. Okay. Cargill recalls 8 tons of ground beef at Walmart stores nationwide over possible E. coli. 8 tons of ground beef recalled. The Cargill Meat Solutions plant in Pennsylvania. It's they only distribute to Walmart. Got a lot of recalls. I just don't think that they want people to have food. Cargill shipped the raw ground beef to Walmart in Connecticut, Maryland, Massachusetts, New Hampshire, New York, North Carolina, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Vermont, Virginia, Washington, D.C., and West Virginia. Panama elects new president who vows to shut migrant trail and restore economy. And if that promise actually is held true, this guy will be taken out. Deaths of self-checkout. Walmart charges for it in some locations. Self-checkout. Theft and complaints are taking a toll. So Walmart wants you to pay $98 a year for the self-checkout privilege. Oh my God. Oh, you want to sell your home? Get ready for disappointment. This summer? Oh, you know, spring and summer are the seasons for selling and buying. Not this summer. Forget about it. People don't have money. Is the economy as bad as Americans think? What do you think? I think it's really bad. Yeah. But I don't just think it. It is really bad. In fact, this was a good article and I'm going to read it. Hikikomori, I think that's how you pronounce it. And lying flat. When making it becomes hopeless. And I think, you know, whether it is financial that you identify with, but I think a lot of people will just identify with it, you know, think about just life in general now. The world has changed in fundamental ways that have made it much more difficult to make it into the ranks of the middle class, and even harder to claw one's way into the higher reaches of the economic order, the top 10%. Developed economies have been stripped of secure, well-paid manual labor work. The purchasing power of wages has declined. Prices of assets such as homes have skyrocketed out of reach, and the mass overproduction of elites, those with college diplomas and advanced degrees, I don't consider them the elites, but hey, has created a winner-take-all competitive pressure cooker with few winners and an abundance of also-rans. In other words, the workaday world has become far more complex and far more demanding than it has than it was 2 generations ago. It's not just making enough to pay the bills that's more demanding. The work is more demanding, as is everyday life, which now demands far more shadow work we do to manage life's complexities that we're not paid for. Having children is far more expensive and demanding too, as the competition for upper middle class slots now starts in kindergarten. Many individuals do not have the armor and weaponry needed to enter the arena and survive the competition. It's easy to dismiss them as lazy, but that's not the issue. It's also easy to dismiss them as snowflakes, young people who have been shielded from life's rougher edges by overprotective parents, leaving them ill-equipped for the slings and arrows of modern life. But that's not the issue either. The real issue? The social and economic demands now exceeds the carrying capacity of many people. The weight is overwhelming. Where it was possible to find a secure, low-level job that could support a household and find a place in society's pecking order 2 generations ago with limited social and work skills, now it's essentially impossible. Low-level work is insecure and too poorly paid to support a household, and it is viewed as demeaning and unworthy of respect. How do humans respond when they're viewed as worthless and they feel hopeless? In the Hollywood script, they pick themselves up, dust themselves off, gather a discarded shield, and soar off the blood-soaked sand of the arena and go out and kick some ass. Many people manage to do this, and we applaud their grit and determination, but not every individual wins in this battle. And a whole lot. The battle is rigged. And now we're seeing that a whole lot, literally, recognize, they see how hopeless it is. Many pick up the shield, the sword, and are immediately trampled. They make a realistic assessment that they can't possibly reach the lofty goals demanded of them, and so they are effectively excluded from what is now considered normal life. This comment was on Reddit. I obviously can't speak for everyone, but I can give some insight based on my own social withdrawal. Modern life is overwhelming. It feels like there's a lot that's expected of you. In many ways, modern life is a giant competition for wealth and status, but instead of competing just within your community, you have to compete with millions of people all over the world. It feels daunting, if not impossible. Why compete in a contest you know you can't win? It's pointless. It's a waste of time and energy. I feel very much like, well, what's the point? So they drop out of the competition. Maybe they take a part-time gig job. Maybe they move back to take care of a parent or grandparent, or they become a recluse. Hikikomori, to withdraw, komori, inside. An extreme form of voluntary social isolation from society. The term originated in Japan, but the abandonment of conforming to the demands of society is not limited to Japan. Withdrawing from the demands of what passes for, quote, normal life, unquote, is not limited to extremes of seclusion. It is a spectrum of withdrawal that includes giving up on striving for upper middle class membership, which goes by terms such as lying flat or let it rot, to minimize engagement with the world in a variety of ways. The medical professions have naturally sought to frame this voluntary seclusion as a psychiatric disorder, but it is not a disease or disorder. It is a psychological response to an impossible set of familial and social economic demands in a social order that no longer offers a positive role, socially or economically, for the marginalized and not so marginalized. We're talking now the majority of the population. And those lacking what it takes to meet the increasing demands of an economy of surplus elites striving for the diminishing pool of jobs that provide both. He still thinks the educated are the elites. No, they're not. Okay, but a secure middle-class income and a way of life that doesn't strip the worker of everything but work. This is not so much a mystifying disorder as an understanding that seclusion is viewed as the only available response left to social economic exclusion. In a hyper-globalized, hyper-financialized developed economy, there are no social or economic roles left for those who cannot enter the coliseum of highly productive workers and emerge victorious. First of all, there's hardly any jobs out there. Okay, part-time precarious work is all that's available to them, and it's poorly paid and earns zero status or respect, so the impoverishment of those for whom this is best they can manage is both physical and psychological. Trying to live up to the standards of, quote, normal life, unquote, extracts more than they have to give in return for an awareness of inadequacy and demands more than they can give in return for the impossibility of meeting expectations in a social order in which ridicule, exclusion, and harassment are normalized. See, if everybody just lived honestly and spoke honestly, we wouldn't be in this mess. There's a whole lot of people who want to believe the horseshit that they hear, that the economy is fine. There are jobs out there. Go. Yeah. Well, haven't I shown you that no, there really are not? And the layoffs are just adding up and adding up and adding up. And what are the, every month you hear, every administration, and this one is Biden, they come out patting themselves on the back. Oh, we created 500,000 jobs. All right, then in a few days, you actually get the truth about that data. And what are the jobs in the service sector? Part-time positions. Unable to qualify for social approval and validation, winners must have high social skills and oversized ambitions, be willing to work insanely long hours and pass grueling all-or-nothing exams, then work insanely long hours to prove one's social merit, marry and have children whose success. Everything is getting exhausting. Everything is just exhausting today in our fabulous US of A. What has manifested is not for the sane who actually want to live life. Those who lack these traits either endure a quite realistic sense of the hopelessness of succeeding in a competition they are ill-equipped to survive, much less win or withdraw from the hell of other people. Recalling Sartre's famous line in No Exit, hell is other people. Those who are excluded have said the pain of loneliness is easier to bear than the pain of dealing with other people. How flippin' sad is that? Where working class jobs and factories once offered security, community, and a positive identity of being a productive, valued worker, now the physical labor jobs are viewed as demeaning, and those doing the work find their work isn't validated or respected. In previous generations, education, vehicles, healthcare, housing were all affordable to anyone with steady work who exhibited basic frugality in service of saving. A great many jobs offered security, community, a positive identity, and a ladder of social mobility to lower middle-class stability that then served as a platform for one's children to climb even higher. That died with the baby boomers. Now working-class jobs are characterized by insecurity and precariousness and threadbare social circle of other workers and neighbors passing through, and very little validation of being a contributing member of society. No wonder so many people devote themselves to curating an artificial digital representation of themselves that they reckon is worthy of recognition and status and perhaps even admiration and envy. The real world no longer offers much of an avenue for their real selves to receive what every human wants: to be recognized as an individual who contributes to the greater whole to the best of their ability and is thus worthy of self-respect and the respect of others. Yeah. And Charles will have more to say about this striving for an artificial substitute for authentic recognition and identity in his next post. All of what sustained life and actually brought about joy and connection and community is pretty much gone. It's been obliterated. We've turned to, the screens. And we were very much a part of the obliteration of humanity. Boy, did we cave. We caved to this technology, and I hate it. I want real life. I need real life. We all need real life. And when you live without it for such a long time, it begins to have a very bad effect. You lose who you are in real life. And that's not fun. And talking about the economy, well, TripAdvisor stock is down 29%. Shopify stock slides 18%. And Rivian loses $1.45 billion as cost-cutting measures continue. And last night, I included in the live Pritzker, the governor of Illinois, giving nearly $1 billion in taxpayer dollars to Rivian. Doesn't that amount to welfare? California bans restaurant surcharges. Business leader says layoffs coming. Wow. Schools are just letting people go. The layoffs. Schools here, San Francisco Unified School District running out of money. Spirit Airlines CEO says industry is like a rigged game. U.S. consumers are long-term losers. No kidding. Steward Healthcare has placed its 31 U.S. hospitals up for purchase. And Target 75. I'm just going to read the numbers. 75 layoffs for Target, 302 for T-Rock Global, Marinus Pharmaceuticals, 14. First Student, don't know what these companies are, but expects 253 layoffs. Rocky Mountain Crisis Partners in Denver, 330 layoffs. Just the numbers, not the percentages. Goodyear Tire, 135. Kaiser Permanente, another 76. Highmark Health, 47. 156 in Florida and Pennsylvania for a mortgage lending firm. 40, School of Science and Technology, San Antonio School System. Microsoft's Gaming Division, 100, Austin, Texas. Wow, 34, John Deere. Garner Industries, Nebraska, tornado damages causing 62 layoffs. Meta Materials, 82. Q Health, 230. Luminar, 147. Sprinkler, 116. Amcor, 41. Wells Fargo, 40. 128, Boeing. I'm surprised Boeing hasn't just given up and closed their doors. Peloton, 400. 200 layoffs. Google, another 200. Whoa. Hartford Public Schools, 33. Phononic, 54. 693. Tesla. Wow, 204. Cirque du Soleil? 150. Houston Independent School District, Texas. Ashby Park School District, 26. Textron, 1,500. Southwest Airlines, 2,000. Path Crisis Center, 100. Bristol Myers, 2,200. Real Services, 65. WBUR, 7 layoffs, 24 buyouts. Whirlpool, 1,000 salaried jobs gone. Expedia, 84. SunPower, 1,000. University of Pittsburgh Medical Center, 1,000. Okay, I think I've gotten to the days when I have read into lives how many layoffs are. It's just a happening thing. You think people have opportunity in this country anymore? Do you think? They don't. Opportunity is gone. So, we really do need to do our best to somehow figure out a way to bring community back, because that's the only way that any of us are going to survive. Not going to survive alone. Even if you have strong families, but you don't know your neighbors and you have no relations with them, you're not going to survive alone. You need community. Why do you think the social engineers wanted so badly to destroy community? Why do you think they wanted so badly to destroy trust and connection and real relating? So it's up to all of us to bring it back. You know, it's living honestly and speaking honestly and establishing oneself as a trustworthy human being. Bada boom. That's it. And it is our responsibility. So, I want to look at radar one more time. I'm okay, not good. Look at these frequencies blasting away. Wow. And look at this, what's happening in Texas. Okay, you guys, if you're in these states and you got these supercells coming at you, if you have a basement, you better please be watching into the wee hours. Look at this. Look at all of these extremely low frequencies blasting away. And this is, I think this is actually even north of Dallas. I think Dallas is a little bit south of this supercell. But look, I mean, what is this that just suddenly appears and disappears? All right. Well, what we are looking at is manufactured weather, weather warfare, weather used as a weapon, and boy, are they using it. Boy, are they using it. Missouri, Arkansas, northeast Texas, southeast Oklahoma, Tennessee, and the nanobots are manifesting as supercells into Alabama, North Georgia, Kentucky, you are pretty much filled. Iowa. Look at these, the extremely low frequencies. They can intensify storms. They can modify, they can direct weather fronts with these extremely low frequencies. As you can see, they are blasting away. And once again, you know, I just tomorrow morning, going through we're going to see more destruction tomorrow, and they are definitely ramping things up. So I hope you all have a plan, no matter where you are, even if you're not in any of these states that are getting targeted right now, that you have a plan, that you have all of the important documents that you need, because I will tell you, when you lose all of those documents, your life can become hell. And everything is very hard. And that you have your evacuation plan, that you know what you're going to do if a tornado is coming your way. If you haven't made these plans now, I suggest that you get off this live stream. Don't even listen to the next 2 minutes of my saying goodnight, and sit down with your wife or a husband or whomever and plan it out. So, on that note, I sure hope all of you stay safe and that you do bring your best self. If you're in these areas that have been hit and they're not far away, you might want to take your vehicle, drive down, and ask what you can do to help people who have lost everything. So, Thank you for showing up. I hope to see you tomorrow night. What a life, huh? What a life. I sure as hell did not expect it to be the way it is. But it is this way, and so I wish everybody good night and good luck. Ciao, guys.